Right now, the Russians have come. They've come with a helping hand. The Russians are currently training Ugandan medics to fight deadly epidemics. My brother, have you ever been to Uganda before? Uganda. You heard of Uganda, right? Yes.
If you have a desire,
it's the country with the biggest nyash ever. The nyashest country in Africa. I'm telling you, no wonder why so many Nigerians are moving from some other places from Africa going to Uganda. And these ladies are very respectful. This is how they greet people. Look. That's how they kneel down to their husbands. They're offering you food with their knees on the floor. And don't get this out of context. It's part of their culture. It has nothing to do with slavery. That is how you show appreciation to your husband. So they have such a beautiful culture that when you enter the house, before you enter the house, you remove your shoes. You leave your shoes at the door. Okay? So they enter the house barefoot. And the house is clean, the energy is great, and everybody's beautiful. I know your mentality, Western mentality is, well, why do you have to kneel down? No, you don't understand, my dear. And what does the man do for the woman? That is the question you gotta ask. The nyashest country in Africa. Okay. Let's not talk about Nyash. It's a beautiful place. Lovely people, great ambiance. One of the most friendliest places I have been. So if you haven't, I suggest you go check Uganda. Beautiful place. Now, Uganda, the pearl of Africa. Now, Uganda has been through a lot of things, such as pandemics, okay? There's been a lot of stuff happening in Uganda, like Ebola, like spur, all these crazy diseases. What are disease with the thing coming on your skin? All of the stuff that you can think about has happened in Uganda, especially between the border of Uganda and Congo. Look at the map. That's Uganda. This is the DRC Congo. They've seen a lot. Matter of fact, since the dawn of time, HIV, that disease, apparently they say it came out from one of those two countries. We don't quite know which one it is, but there are conflicting ideas. Some people say they brought it through vax. Some people say anyway. Now, Uganda's gone through the most. Right now, the Russians have come. They've come with a helping hand. The Russians are currently training Ugandan medics to fight deadly epidemics.
We are glad to share the vast experience we have in combating epidemics of infectious diseases with the rest of the world.
Congratulations. Yeah, Pigama coffee. You got a Pigama coffee on this one. I think it's beautiful. The Russians are really trying very hard to enter areas where they had never been before. Creating a much bigger level of friendship with African nations. So the Russian health watchdog Rospotrebnadzor has begun training Ugandan medical personnel as part of a broader cooperation with African countries on infectious disease control, the agency announced on Monday. The initiative in Kampala follows the first Russia-Africa International Conference on Infectious Disease Control, held in Uganda capital in April 2024, and was launched at the initiative of Russian President Vladimir Putin. Again, Putin playing a major role. Let me give you context. Congo, here, okay, next to Uganda, I've seen a lot of disease. The one with 3 letters, big time. Uganda as well. Congo has seen Ebola. You know Ebola? The disease where the blood comes out of your orifice, your eye, your nose, your mouth, your nyash. No, let's not talk about nyash. Okay, it's been bad and it's taken a lot of lives. Let me tell you a story here. In Sierra Leone, right here, there was a moment Ebola started. Okay, it was really, really bad. Took out a lot of lives. And many people were worried because there was no cure to Ebola at that very time. Now, what had occurred was many helpers, especially doctors from the United States, came to Sierra Leone to help people with Ebola. Now, guess what happened? In a moment where the world said there was no cure for Ebola, one white American doctor, got infected. Guess what happened? The United States of America sent a special airplane, a medical plane, to Sierra Leone. Look at the distance from America to Sierra Leone to pick up this one white doctor. They took her back to the US. 1 week after she was on press conference talking, she had recovered.
Thank God, I love you all.
In the meantime, they told Africans there is no cure for that. I'm just saying, you can pull your own conclusion. And many people were strong enough, they were recovering without medication in Africa. I mean, that's one of the best things you can get in Africa. You get a strong immune system. Trust me, brother. Like myself, I've had malaria 57 times. I know some people go like malaria. Yes, I've had malaria like 57 times. My body's so used to it that sometimes you wake up early in the morning, you're like, okay, I'm not feeling okay today. I think it's probably malaria, but you eat right, the very next day you're good because your body has learned how to fight it. Now, it's the same thing that has occurred in Sierra Leone, where some of the people's body, immune system was able to fight the Ebola. Ebola takes you out in 3 days maximum. Okay, 2 days if you're weaker. And some of the people were just being given good food and sun, and they recovered. In the meantime, the other people with weak immune system, they were unalive. So you build a strong immune system by being exposed to diseases, sometimes at a very controlled level. Not a lot of it, just a little bit. You get a strong immune system. Same thing for vaccines. Vaccines back in time used to be they will inject you with the very same disease they're trying to fight, but a very weakened disease for your body to learn how to combat it. That's how they created vaccines. So a lot of Africans are natural vaccine, very strong immune system by being exposed to trash, to rubbish, to bad things, to toxicity at a very controlled level. Then you build a strong immune system. That's why African kids don't really, they're very strong. You bring your European kids in Africa, in malaria, he's gone within 2-3 days. Okay, so now the Russians have come because these people brought problems. This is what they do. They will bring you a problem, then offer you a solution. You have a disease that they created. I'm not going to get into that. But then they bring you a solution. Okay, we have something for you. It's going to cost $4 billion to find a solution to it. The Russians have come. They're going to train the Ugandans on how to combat all these type of epidemic and diseases. And there's somebody that's not happy about that. Who is that? Do you know? Why is Russia doing this? The program is part of a broader Russian strategy to deepen its presence across African continent in a range of sectors, from healthcare, education, energy, mining, and security. I think the world knows now that you cannot progress without Africa. And Russia has been very involved in Africa since the dawn of time, truly, but right now much more than ever. And also let me remind you here that Russia is also conducting things with Congo Brazzaville right now. They're getting petrol or oil from Pointe Noire, which is next to the sea, directing it all the way to Brazzaville through pipelines. Brazzaville doesn't have pipelines like that. What they do is they take trucks like these trucks to conduct transportation of oil, and it's been very, very difficult. The roads are not necessarily the best. Sometimes they have potholes, sometimes car breakdowns. And in order to sort of fast forward this, to make it more professional, the Congolese government has cooperated with the Russians to build this plant and pipelines, allowing the oil to be transferred very fast to the oil processing plants to this town, Brazzaville, much quicker. So it's more reliable. You're not going to blame the driver saying, yeah, you stopped by your girlfriend, that's why you took, or stuff like that. Congratulations to the Russians or what. Also, congratulations to the Ugandans for opening the door. Now, why is this happening? The Ugandan president is very defiant. This man right here, Yoweri Museveni, he's been in power since 1986, but he's been very, very strong, and he doesn't care. He's a soldier. He's been through wars all his life. Recently, he voted a law saying that no man can be in a relationship with another man. You know what I'm trying to say? If you want to have a relationship like that, do it in your house. Don't come in the street. If you come show up in the street and kissy, we're going to throw you in jail. Or matter of fact, if you teach kids how to do that, we're going to do some bad things to you. And if you happen to be a kind of man that like other men, and you happen to have that disease that doesn't have a cure, and you transmit that to somebody else, we're going to take you out.
The president has actually signed the anti-homosexuality law. And I want to confirm to you that what was a bill is now an act of parliament called the Anti-Homosexuality Act 2023. If you perform a sexual act with a person of the same sex, then you have committed the offense of homosexuality. And what is the punishment? Imprisonment for life.
That was the law. He didn't vote the law, the parliament voted the law. He went to sign the law, to pass it. And the West was very angry at him about that. Why would you do that? We're going to cut the AIDS. And they used to send them money and stuff for people living with HIV. About $300 million per year, the US used to send. But after the vote of the law saying we do not want this in our community, our leaders, our political, our social, our spiritual leaders have come together to discuss. They've agreed they don't want that culture in our country. The United States of America blocked them and also said, okay, from now on, World Bank, don't give them any money. You know World Bank. This is World Bank. This is where most African countries go. Poor countries, they will go and beg for money. Please, we need money to build road. Please give us money to build schools. Please, we need money for hospitals. At the end of the day, they get the money, but they don't necessarily spend the money building schools, road, or hospitals. Yeah, these Africans are crazy. Yeah, then they get the second wife, and the third wife, and the fourth wife. Then they get the first villa, the second villa. Yeah, that's what it is. Then at the end of the day, they want to tax the people. Okay, tax on bread, tax on period pads, so they can get the money they spent in unnecessary and personal things. I'm not going to name a country. You know what I'm talking about. Now, when Uganda was sanctioned for choosing not to allow men to be with other men or anything like that, President Museveni said, okay, you know what, you can go. We are going to Russia. He took a flight the very same day all the way to Russia. He said, watch me. You think I'm going to beg you? I'm not begging you. I'm going to Russia, matter of fact. And where did he do that? He chose at the heat of the war between Russia and Ukraine. Remember that time where every country in the world hated Russia for going in Ukraine? That's when he took the flight. He said, oh, by the way, I'm going to Russia. Oh, there's no reason to it. I'm just going to say hi to the president of Russia. How about that? We don't need your money. Now, congratulations on that. Uganda and Congo have been the center of all tests. Just so you know, center of all medical tests. Every funny, weirdest, oddest disease that occurs, it's first started there. They will tell you lies about, well, it's probably a contamination from eating a monkey or eating a bat. Nobody eats bat. Number two, people eat monkeys and they've been eating monkeys for thousands of years and nothing has occurred to them. Have you thought about that? How about that? Yes, they eat monkeys for long. They've been doing that for a long time and nothing happened. It's just curious from 1980. That's when all the monkeys have become infected. Who infected the monkeys? And I'm not saying that you should or shouldn't be eating monkeys because nobody judges you when you eat the chicken. Well, maybe the chicken is sacred to other people. Nobody judges you when you eat the cow. Well, the cow is very sacred to the Indians. They don't eat cow. You eat cow. So it's very easy to blame other people for doing what they want to do. Anyway, that's what's happening in Uganda right now. The Russians are there. So, is it a good thing that the Russians are in Uganda or not? You let me know what you think about it. And also, don't forget the nyash. Let me know how you feel about this. It's always a great pleasure. God bless.